Sir Arthur Conan said that crime is common and logic is rare. Therefore, it is upon the logic rather than the crime that we should dwell on. So we could not disagree more to that. Sorry, we could not agree more to that. And if you also want to know about the same, that is crime and punishment in the society, you have come to the right place. So hello and welcome. This is Himanshu Kaushik, your host of the day, and I would like to welcome you all in today's webinar on the same crime and punishments that are happening in the society, the evolving scenario. And I hope that you all are fine, safe, sound, and happy at wherever you're taking this webinar from. So before we move on and learn a lot more about the punishments we have and the crimes that we have in our society, we have our expert here with us. So I shall introduce you to our expert. We have Mr. Sunil Kumar sir, an assistant professor, COD, School of Law, Lovely Professional University here with us. He is an experienced academician with a track record of employment in higher education sector for more than a decade now. He possesses expertise in legal writing, editing, public speaking, criminology, constitutional law, intersections of law, society, and technology. He is a strong researcher with a Masters of Law, that is LLM, from Delhi University, with particularly emphasis on comparative criminal law, civil liberties, and correctional administrations. He is regularly invited to eminent law schools as an expert in seminars, moot courts, competition as well. He has also published he has also published with eminent media houses in India, UK, and US. So, sir, it is a pleasure for us to be here, and I look forward to the seminar and looking forward for amazing session, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, Himanshi. Really, it's indeed my pleasure. The pleasure is all mine. And thank you, everyone who has joined here, who has taken time out to join here with us in this webinar. So, friends, students, ladies, gentlemen, I believe, whenever we get up every day, I think one of the first casual thing, as a routine matter, at least I look at the newspaper. So I'm sure many amongst you must also be looking at the newspaper. These days when we open the newspaper, what is it that we can find over there? Anyone who would just like to come up with anything? What is it? Does it really present to you a very happy scenario? Do you really enjoy reading newspaper, or what is it? How do you feel after reading the newspaper? Anyone would like to say anything? Like, is it a happy feeling you get, or is it a mixed feeling you get, or is it that the whole experience of reading newspaper, puts you in slightly depressing mode at times?
Sir, with this, the question that you've raised, I just want to tell everyone, that is all the participants, that you can now have a chat session with us, sir. I mean, with our expert, of course, here. So what you need to do is you simply need to maybe raise your hand or write your queries in the chat box or the Q&A box, so that you can have a live chat session with him, or you can just answer the questions in Q&A or chat session. So over to you, sir, now.
Right. Absolutely. We welcome all queries and all such questions which are which must be in your mind regarding the crime punishment scenario. You see, when I read the newspaper, I get very mixed feeling, to tell you very frankly, because just like you, I'm also a part of the society. And once we are in the society and the newspaper, what is it going to bring it to us? It is going to bring to us news from every part of the world, society. And you see there is, however, the general impression these days is what we get is you have crimes being reported, you have of myriad kinds, right? You have murder, you will come across dacoity, rape, or these are the kind of traditional crimes which are regularly reported. And sometimes it leads us to think that what is it? It leads us to several more, words pop up in my mind, right? So for a person who is not very much aware about the legal process, that how it operates in the country, it is something quite like out of curiosity, you ask yourself, what is our legal system doing? What is the police going to do about such crime scenario? How is the government going to respond? How are we going to punish the people who are responsible for some serious crimes, right? Like rape, murder, assaults, or even killing of people, terrorist attacks. So there are so many different kinds of crimes which we come across, right? Some of these crimes affect individuals. Some of these crimes affect a group of people. And at times, some of these crimes affect also, most importantly, a lot of property is damaged. Now, let me give you a scenario. Now, there is a famous godman, for example, right? I'm just taking you back because we are going to look at the scenarios, live scenarios happening in the society. For instance, the instance of Dera Sacha Sauda Godman Ram Rahim comes to my mind. I'm sure you must have read about him in the newspapers. So he was convicted by a competent court of law in India on certain charges of murder and sexual assault. And then, when this particular punishment was pronounced, the administrative machinery and the legal apparatus and of course the accompanying police machinery was in top shape, and they had to be very alert at their end. Even after ensuring and deploying so much of force on the ground, there's rioting happened and there was a lot of damage done to the public property. So once the damage is done to the public property, then who is going to be held accountable for the same? It's a mob which comes forward. Of course, after an investigation comes up and then later on the things happen. But friends, what does this tell you? What does this kind of scenario? It leads us to put questions to ourselves at times, right? We tend to ask, are we living in a safe society? Are we living in a very secure society? Is this kind of scenario helpful for leading a peaceful life for my family, friends, and for business friends, or for conducting business peacefully? Now, each one of us would like to have a nice work schedule, family life, or even a leisure life. But the most important thing which human being has sought, or the mankind has sought from the very beginning, since inception, okay, in history, in the evolution of the mankind, if you see, that is, it has always waged wars, and it has been in a very aggressive mode sometimes. Why? Only because the objective has been more or less that we intend to lead life in peace and stability. And sometimes the war, aggression, or the kind of conflict which comes into the picture is also justified to say that, see, this is being done to ensure peace in our midst, so that we lead a peaceful life. Now, there are two aspects which you can see in the theme before us, friends, here. This is crime on the one hand. On the other hand, you have punishment. Now, why do we punish you in the first place? This should be a question which you may ask. Okay, at this stage, I would just like to pause for a while and just see if anyone has any query. Any queries? Let me just check the chat box. Let me see. All right. Okay, fine. So, in case you come across any query comes to your mind, as Himanshi was telling here, so you can please raise the query or raise your hand. Now, friends, why should we punish in the first place? And most importantly, who should inflict the punishment? And even before we come to the punishment part, the moot question, or the very basic question which we can ask ourselves is this: what exactly is crime? What kind of act or what kind of omission can be categorized as crime? So this is something which we need to answer, right? So now just take a look at this particular slide, which must be appearing in front of you. What do you see? What do you see? The time period is mentioned, the place is mentioned, and this kind of, it's a graphic, it's a sketch representation of a crime scene. Now, just let me take back you a little bit in history. There are a lot of cases reported. Now, this particular sketch is basically alluding to the murders which took place around that time period, around 1888 in London, England. And these became popular worldwide, or you can say sensational. I should not say popular. There is nothing nice happening here. It's, after all, these were a serial murders which took place and shocked the conscience of the society in England, and also brought to attention the whole of the crime, how it's happening, and the mind who must be perpetrating such crime. So there was a serial killer, and this particular case became popular in media circles as the Jack the Ripper case. And this remains unsolved even till today, right? And what happened here, the modus operandi was of the perpetrator of the crime. Now I'm here using here some words, friends. You must be, it's been a couple of minutes. We are into this session. So I'm mentioning several new words and terms. So I'm not sure if you are really aware of this term modus operandi. Now, anyone who can tell me what do we mean by modus operandi? M-O-D-U-S, modus, O-P-E-R-A-N-D-I, modus operandi. Anyone who would like to make a guess, what could I be referring to? Himanshi ma'am, do we have any answers in the chat box or otherwise?
Yes, sir. We have from Sergeant Chauhan. And
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's,
and is it there in the chat box?
yeah, in the chat box.
Okay.
Sir.
The way you, Mannat Brar, used to refer to criminals' habitual methods, also called modus operandi. Then Mannat Brar, Ruchi Agarwal is saying, wonderful, wonderful. Absolutely. Yeah, you are, Ruchi and Sergeant, definitely you have hit the nail on its head. And Mannat, yes, you are also very, very close to the correct answer. Thank you so much. Wonderful. So it's a way of doing thing. You know, every criminal, there's a pattern to the crime. The way it is executed. You know, these days you have web series and you have so much of, availability of the entertainment media and so much of suspense, drama, kind of entertainment episodes you watch on several OTT platforms. Do you watch OTT platforms? Are you aware of the OTT platforms? I'm sure everyone is, right? Okay. So which is your most favorite genre? Participants and dear friends here, can I have your answers? Which is your most favorite genre on the OTT platform? Mystery, Sergeant. Oh, wonderful. Anyone else who would like to contribute? Ruchi, which is your favorite genre? Could you please tell me? Crime. Okay, great. Fiction and crime. Okay, Himanshi ma'am has also responded. Thank you so much. You see, it's quite natural. Somehow, you know, crime, mystery, and these kind of things really evoke our curiosity and, you know, ignite a sense of imagination in our mind. And it keeps us hooked. Perhaps if Netflix is going to do any survey or research in the days to come, I'm sure the crime series, or for that matter, any OTT platform, Amazon or anyone, the crime kind genre and the fiction, mystery, these kind of genres always score very high, right, in the visibility factor. And the number of viewership rating is very high. Why? Why there is so much of curiosity? The answer lies with us only, perhaps, or it is there in psychoanalysis, maybe. Or maybe a clinical psychologist can tell us something about it, right? And the probable answers could be that, you see, it is, after all, refers to our very innate sense of insecurity, which is there within us at the end of the day. There's a very innate sense of insecurity. You see, even when we are placed in a very, very secure environment, even then there is a question which we can put to ourselves. Is there a window open? Is there a door open? Is there any place from where a criminal can gain entry into the house or the place of abode where we live? Is there anything which is wrong in the system. Now, these days, we are all the time, most of the time we are here on we are browsing, we are surfing through the internet, and whole of the day our activities are devoted to, we remain engaged with our activities on the net, or we remain always online. So status is online, offline. So our status has really changed, Earlier, the popular kind of, it was fashionable to tell you the status, like whether you are single or married, but now the status is now whether you are online or offline. Do you agree? Isn't it? Isn't it? Okay, fine. Yeah. So now the status is changing. So now you're more interested. Now the status is online, offline, available, and then you can keep writing your other, catchy one-liners to we attach to our identities, so that, we present ourselves in a particular way to the world. But mind you, when you are online and when you are interacting with the wider world on a global scale, there are people sitting, and there is a dark world also there. There is a parallel universe of dark net which operates, and over there, there are many, there are many people who are simply trying to hack into your accounts. They are trying to steal your passwords. And these people are interested in, selling drugs, contraband items, arms, ammunition. You talk about it. And they want to sell it online and sell it to, very innocent people who are very gullible people. In case if you have not really put your online security or web security system in place, or antivirus software yours is not updated, then you may be a victim. So there is a new dimension of cyber crimes coming, but we will be talking about all of this. But first, let's resolve this particular sketch. What happened here in London? Here, the modus operandi of Jack the Ripper. We know him by the name Jack the Ripper. The killer could be a female also, we don't know. But anyhow, we presume, because there was a series of letters which used to be sent to the police constabulary or to the stations over there, the police stations over there in England, and apparently for many years to come. And it appeared from the language that the person is a male. So on that basis, the guess was made that it's a male perpetrator who is doing this particular crime. However, the case remains unresolved, and Jack the Ripper identified sex workers who used to live in a particular area or nearby radius of a certain areas, and used to assault them whenever they were lonely or at a place, and very brutally used to disembowel them. Disembowelment is like you do commit the crime in a particularly ghastly way. So somehow this attracted the attention of the society. After a while, after a couple of years, like this particular series of crimes stopped, but the mystery remains unsolved. Now we are referring to London. Let's talk about India for a while. So in India also, if we start, crime has been a feature of every society, whether we take the case of India, United Kingdom, United States of America, Australia, you talk about it. Crime is everywhere. And as I told you, why people commit crime? Why do we need to punish crimes? And which are the actions and omissions which we may categorize as crime, or which we should not categorize as crime? So the moot question for us is, what is crime? So let me hear out from you. I think, let me see if in case you, just hold on. Yeah, give me a second. Manshi ma'am, is the screen being shared again?
Yes, it is, sir. It is.
Oh, okay. I think it's online. I just wanted to see if in case I can have a couple of responses from the audience.
Definitely, sir. Okay. Sir, one thing, kindly please put on the full screen mode on the slideshow.
Oh, just give me a second.
Yeah. Okay. Sir, would it be fine if I allow them to talk to you?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, okay. So if there's anyone who would want to have a chat session and answer the queries that sir is asking, so you can just directly raise your hand and we can allow you to talk also. And meanwhile, sir, Sergeant has responded to the query that you've asked. Act forbidden by law and punishable by fine, probation, imprisonment, or death.
Right, just give me a second. Let me just work out this screen share somehow. I just clicked on it. Just hang on.
No issues, sir. Sir, we can have the questionnaires round, and meanwhile, I'll present from my end. No
Yeah,
issues.
sure. Okay. All right, so. All right, so we can take up a couple of queries since we were just in the middle of the discussion. So basic crime definition, fiction and crime. Then you said yes, act forbidden by law and punishable. They can hear me, Himanshi?
Yes, sir, they can.
Okay. So yes, Sergeant, act forbidden by law, punishable by fine, probation, imprisonment, or death. Yes, very good. Basic definition is nothing but breach of rules, which is offensive. Okay. An action by one person which infringes the right of another, act against state. Okay. Crime is an act done by a person towards another human being, animal, society, or nature. Okay. Very interesting queries. But let me just ask you. But let me just ask you, since I'm looking at your replies here. When we say we are committing a crime, then is it that crime as we understand the law in the law? Law, is it only towards another human being, or is it also towards the animals as some of you are proposing, or is it also towards the other beings who could be there? So what is punishable under the law, the existing law? Animals too. Is it punishable? Rishabh, are you sure?
Sir, just wanted to confirm, is my screen visible?
It's visible.
Oh.
What is crime? It's visible to me. We can check from Ruchi, one of the participants. Ruchi, is it visible to you? Okay, fine. That's great. Wonderful. Now, one of you said animals also. You see, when we talk about the Indian Penal Code, which is the parent act, friends, on the aspect of crime, then we will realize that here we really do not cover, or the definition of person does not include an animal. However, there may be another Prevention of Cruelty Towards Animals Act. There could be a separate legislation, or there may be a separate law enacted under certain situations which may prescribe that, okay, if you do certain actions towards animal, then these may be punishable. That sort of legislation that sort of law we know as a special enactment. Okay, as far as the fundamental law is covered, friends, then that is taken care by the Indian Penal Code of 1860. Now, let me just tell you a little bit about Indian Penal Code, because since it's been enacted more than 200 years back, and for more than 200 years, it has served us. And the categories of offenses which are listed there continue to guide our legal system. Now, some of you said that it is a breach, it is an act against the state. Now, there is sometimes, have you ever heard of the offense of sedition? Sedition? Have you ever heard of okay, great. Now, what do we mean by sedition? Now, sedition would be something that when, someone is doing an act, or he's speaking something, offenses, basically, it's an act of open revolt against the government, right? And it is punishable under its present form under section 124 of the Indian Penal Code. There is a threshold, okay? Like if you are asking something, or if you're criticizing the government, is it a crime? If you criticize the government, is it a crime? No. Then when does sedition happen? Or when can a criticism, when we take it to when we increase the intensity of the crime, positive criticism is allowed. Okay. Thanks, Sergeant. Thanks. Wonderful. I'm really like that you are very responsive audience. So that is the best part. Oh, wonderful. So you see, yes, actually, when you openly take up arms or you incite violence, okay, if you look at the particulars of the law, yes, when it affects our sovereignty or it poses a threat to our integrity of the nation, then of course, yes, Rishabh, thank you so much. Yes, definitely it leads us to the conclusion that a seditious act is being committed. But recently there has been a lot of debate on the issue, and even today's newspaper, if you see, there is a debate going on. The Law Commission of India has recently reported 2-3 days back, if you have been reading very carefully in the newspaper, that you must have read that it has recommended that this particular crime should be included. However, there's a great criticism for this particular offense. The reason being that sometimes this particular crime is invoked against some of the people who are very vocal. It is also seen that maybe due to political propaganda, sometimes their voice is to be muffled, so they are being arrested. So there are several cases which can come up. However, you will be surprised to know that, and it's very interesting to know, in fact, that some of the biggest, freedom fighters, yes, Disha Ravi Toolkit, yes, definitely, Ruchi, definitely. I'm glad that you are reading the newspaper. You know, one of the very basic advice which we give to our law students is that you cannot stay updated to the latest position of law if you do not read newspaper and judgments, of course, which are coming very regularly from the courts of law. So when we look at the sedition aspect, then you must have noted that there is like even from the pre-independence day, since it's an old crime, this is a crime which has been there in the Indian Penal Code for now more than a century. And Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi, and leading personalities of the Indian freedom movement, they were also charged with sedition. In fact, when it comes to sedition, can anyone tell me that Mahatma Gandhi described this particular section in the Indian Penal Code as in a very particular way? Can anyone tell me that? Mahatma Gandhi described sedition in a very particular way. He gave his defense in the courtroom against when he was charged with sedition. And in that defense, friends, he spoke about this crime and he said that sedition is a prince among all the provisions of the Indian Penal Code. He has a unique way of countering the narrative. He had a very unique way of defending himself. He was himself a lawyer. So anyhow, he called it the prince among all the crimes of the Indian Penal Code. But there was a specific context to that. It was a freedom struggle. So we were engaged over there. Can we have the next slide, ma'am? Yeah. So which of the following is a crime? Now just look at the options and just tell me which of the following is a crime. Let's take the first one. The first instance is the first sentence speaks to you. It says, you do not save a drowning person. Now tell me, is it a crime? This is an exercise for you, in fact. No. Others, those who are in the audience who have not responded till now, they are also invited to participate. Sajan, Mannat, Rishabh says no. Anjali also says no. Everyone says no. Is there anyone who says yes? Is there anyone who says yes? The statement is, you do not save a drowning person. And the question is, now, okay, so Ruchi says, first one is a crime. That you do not save a drowning person, it's a crime. Okay, Ruchi, that's interesting. Anyone else? Anyone else who agrees with Ruchi can also raise his hand or just say, yes, okay, I agree with Ruchi. Or yes, whatever. All right, fine, I got it. Thank you so much for these responses. Wonderful. Now, friends, let me just tell you, when we look at the scheme of the Indian Penal Code, the way it has been conceptualized, the crimes, how these are understood in India, traditionally, is for for certain acts and omissions in particular cases. But however, in the first instance, I must inform you that in case you do not save a drowning person, it's not punishable under Indian Penal Code. It is not an offense. It is not a crime. And the question which Ruchi you should ask is why. The answer to that, to your why will be, the answer to your why is going to be because it is understood as a moral lapse. Okay, let me just type U. It is understood as a moral lapse. It is not understood as a crime. Now, it's a very bad thing. You know, when you take instances from your very childhood, when you are a child, what do your parents tell you? Your parents tell you, do not speak lie. Your parents tell you, do not do this, do not do that. And how do they ensure that you comply with their directions? Anyone can tell me? How does your parent, any one of your parent, or how does your parents incentives? What kind of incentives? Chocolates, right? Toys, right? Yes. So, or maybe they also sometimes tell you, if you do this, God will be angry. Sometimes they invoke God. Sometimes, yes, they also say we'll give you chocolate. So like they put some fear in your mind sometimes. Sometimes they give you some kind of, they try to attract you so that you give them a very good conduct and you be a very, happy child. So morally, there are certain moral lapses. You lie, you speak lies, right? There are certain moral lapses, but all moral lapses are not punishable under the law. Okay, friends? All moral lapses are not punishable under the law. Now, again, here your question should be that, sir, if moral lapses are not punishable under law, then why these are not punishable? Some kind of, see, you imagine for yourself, state draws boundaries, the state or the legislature. I'm using this word legislature. I hope some of you are aware of this. What do we mean by a legislation? What do we mean by the word legislation? I'll just type here. What do we mean by the word legislation? Anyone? You understand legislation? Yeah, act, fine. Law. Yes, the making of laws. Fine, wonderful, wonderful. So legislation is, legislation is not judgment, Rishabh. Judgment is different. Judgment comes out from the courts, but I'm happy that you are responding. Judgment comes out from a court of law. Yes. Legislation comes out by the parliament. Yes, Simran, wonderful. Absolutely right. Parliament is empowered to enact the laws. Judiciary or the judicial hierarchy of courts, starting from judicial magistrate first class, going up to Supreme Court of India. You know that the hierarchy of courts is responsible for adjudicating justice in the country, to make sure that every person gets justice as per the procedural provided under the legal system. Okay. So this is the aspects which you have to, these are the aspects which you have to keep in mind. Now, talking about the aspect of why all moral lapses are not punishable, because if we make all kind of moral lapses, not only the code or the criminal code will be too extensive and too difficult to implement, rather it will also be absurd. So the legislature, or in fact, Indian Penal Code is drafted by Englishman, Macaulay. You must have read history books. Have you heard the name Macaulay? Okay, so you must have heard, some of you must have heard the name Macaulay. So Macaulay and his other officers of England, they drafted over a period of time, they understood. However, they drafted it in a very such a way that it is serving us still good. We will talk about the new crimes which have been added in a short while. But let's quickly now, since we have answer for the first particular problem scenario to you, now let's take the second problem scenario. What does it say? Can anyone just read it out to us? If you can just switch on your mic for a while. Let us hear you also. Can anyone just read the second pointer, the second problem scenario?
Sir, we need to allow them. Like, you can just raise your hand and then we can allow you to talk. Anyone who wants to
Anyone who would like to just read? Just like that. Rishabh, would you like to read it? Okay, Ruchi would like to go ahead. Please go ahead. Ma'am, please give the rights to Ruchi. Yeah. Please go ahead, Ruchi.
Hello.
Hello, Ruchi.
Am I audible?
Very much.
You brush your shoulder against another person at a Mall complex.
Okay, now tell us the answer also. What do you think?
No, it's not a crime.
It is not a
Crime.
crime. Okay. So thank you so much, Ruchi. Thank you. Great to have you here with us. Thank you. Now, others, since Ruchi, all of us have heard Ruchi. So who stands with Ruchi? Is it a crime? You brush your shoulder against another person at a crime. Is it punishable under the law? Not a crime. No, no. Why? Now you should also tell me why it is not a crime. Why, Ruchi? Can you give some explanation to that? In case you, yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead, Ruchi. You need to switch on your mic.
Yeah. Ruchi, you have the permission to talk. Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
So it is not causing any damage to anyone. That's why it's not a crime.
Okay, okay, wonderful. Thank you for that answer. Friends, you know, when we talk about crime, then this kind of act is seen as a very minor act. It is so trifle. Actually, this particular instance is categorized under trifling acts. I'm just going to type it here. The word, you know, the word is trifling acts. And it is so minor. Sorry, there's a, okay. Yes, yes. De minimis lex non curat. Yeah, de minimis. Yes. Thank you, Rishabh. In fact, I think 3 cheers for Rishabh here also. Cheers. I think we have someone who is really started taking interest already in the law profession and the field. Wonderful. Thank you, Rishabh. Now, Rishabh has referred to us the Latin maxim, you know, the de minimis non curat lex. Okay. So what does this mean? It means law does not take account of the trifling acts like the one which I have given you the example for. And those others who have never heard of this, it simply means that trifling acts are not punishable under the law. See, law cannot take care of very minor, small elements. Okay, whether it's doing slight harm, like Ruchi rightly said, it is not doing any damage or harm. But it is so minor that if law starts taking account of such trifling acts, it will not be possible to implement and attain the object of law, which is to ensure peace and stability in society. Now, let's quickly finish off with the third instance. Jack nurses a grudge against Ravi and with the intention to kill him, shoots at him with a weapon, killing him on the spot. Now, is this a crime? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I believe it's, yes, a sort of combination of actors person. Yes. So some of you really have a good idea. I'm coming to the part what Sajan is saying in a while. Actors reas, mens rea. These kind of terms may be new for some of the members who have joined here for us. I appreciate some of you are already aware. That's a wonderful thing. Yes, actors rea and actors reas and mens rea. Okay, it is actually written like this. Actus reus and mens rea. Now, actus refers to the action part and mens rea refers to the mental part, the mental volition, the building of the intention in the mind. So in this sentence, Jack nurses a grudge against Ravi. It could be due to anything. Yes, criminal intent. Very good. So the key word in this particular sentence for us is intention. So when someone has a clear intention, it shows that he has the necessary mens rea. And when that is combined with the action, the physical action of shooting with the available weapon, he has committed murder or homicide, and then he is punishable under the law. Let's go to the next slide, ma'am. Thank you so much. Now you can see here, wonderful friends, wonderful. I'm really love this kind of interaction, because you see, all of us are concerned about the state of security in the country, in our society. We witness so many crimes, but let us understand how crime is really affecting our lives. And crime is, friends, really affecting our life and times in more than one ways. Let us take a quick couple of 1 or 2 minutes to take a look by these thinkers. What do these thinkers say? So just read these statements. Aristotle, you know, one of the very famous or very renowned philosopher, Greek philosopher. What does he say? He said, poverty is the parent of revolution and crime. So these are the thoughts expressed by some of the thinkers, philosophers in history who have been there. Now, what they have tried to do through their analysis of crime and punishment. Now, what do we know so far? We know what is crime. We know why do we punish crime? Because we need to ensure that a legal system is in place. We need a ordered life. We need peace, stability in society, so that every other vocation can be carried out peacefully, nicely, isn't it? So all of these questions we have answered. Now we come to the point and we would like to analyze what thinkers, philosophers, researchers have in the past already said about crimes or the causes of crime. So the very moot question or one of the very basic queries is, what causes crime? So let's take two, three causes from you, if you can come up with some causes. What causes crime, friends? Can you tell me one or two leading causes of crime, in your opinion? Poverty, okay. So you go with Aristotle, right? Rishabh is with Aristotle, poverty leads to crime, okay. Drugs, in a fit of rage, Ruchi says, okay, superb, great. Okay, that's great. Greed, anger. See, if you look at the reasons, lack of education, like, if you look at the reasons you are giving, just analyze the reasoning which you are giving. Now, in a fit of rage, anger, greed, most of these is based on your nature, the innate nature which you carry. Maybe if someone is able to control a particular kind of rage and not to commit a crime, another person is not able to control a particular kind of crime. Now, this particular understanding has led to a lot of research in recent times, which we can interact, at some other point of time. But whatever reasons you are giving contribute in one form or the other. And many thinkers, I have just tried to mention 2-3 thinkers here for you. There are so many thinkers and so many philosophers that if you are interested, you can really read them for a lifetime. One lifetime is not enough. Anyhow, let's take a look. So, we have an example of Lombroso. I'll just type his name here. Lombroso. So once you go back from this particular meeting webinar to your home, just type Lombroso or, just try to read about him, what kind of criminal theory he proposed. So he said that every human being carries certain physical features, and he categorized criminals on basis of certain specific distinct kind of physical features. Maybe a person who is criminal has a very bulbous nose, he has big eyes, big face, or something like that. So he tried to understand the physiological aspects which to categorize certain criminals. Okay. Kusum has also answered. Thank you, Kusum, for your query here. Unfair judicial system. Yes, there is criticism of the judiciary also, that sometimes it is not able to satisfy the urge or the requirement of justice. I'll come to that part just in a while, Kusum. Okay. The next opinion, let's take it up quickly. The vices of the rich and great are mistaken for error, and those of the poor and lowly for crimes. This was observed by one of the personalities, Countess of Blessington, Margaret Gardiner. So, this is one of the leading criticisms of the judicial system, if I refer to Kusum's comment here in the chat. And the criticism is that the poor people are punished with harsh penalties, whereas the rich people get away with the crime very easily. Maybe they use their influence to bring best of the judges, to bring best of the lawyers in their support. Maybe they are somehow, the judiciary system is lenient towards them. You see, and this is a criticism. Even we have the sentence of death penalty in our country, and even here, when the manner in which it is handed out, it is said that death penalty is handed out very easily for poor persons, whereas rich persons are, allowed freedom from the noose. So this is something to think upon. Let's move forward, ma'am. Ma'am, can we go with Himanshu ma'am? Can we go to the next slide, please? Thank you. Rather let the crime of the guilty go unpunished than condemn the innocent. Now, this was said in the Justinian Code. You know, Justinian law code is one of the very earliest law codes, friends, which you find in history. In fact, you go to Google or you watch, some of the very informative episodes on Discovery, National Geographic, you'll come across the Justinian law code. So what is the meaning of this? Rather let the crime of the guilty go unpunished than condemn the innocent. Can you tell me, anyone? Who would like to explain a little bit of this statement to me? Please go ahead. What do you understand by this? Anyone? You see, this particular statement simply means that the system must punish the guilty person, but not at the cost of the innocent person. Yes, it is better to let the criminal go walk away free, but not the innocent one. In fact, our criminal system is also based on this particular premise. It is not mentioned anywhere, but we find this in the system which we have adopted. Let's go to the next slide, ma'am. Now, this is just a graph which you can see. Now, look at the graph every year. Yes, definitely, Ruchi, definitely. Innocent people should not be punished. Okay, innocent people must be protected. So the object of the criminal justice system in our country is to make sure that the guilty only gets punished. Now, if you look at the comparison here, 2019, 2020, 2021, the crime, you can look at the rate of crimes. These crimes have increased over the years against some vulnerable sections of the society. This is just to give you a picture, a rough idea, a basic idea about how crime fluctuates. Always we get this report, crime is rising. And you will notice against children, women, elderly people, they are vulnerable. These are the vulnerable sections of the society. So the crime against them is increasing. Okay. So against some categories, crime has shown a definite rise as per the official figures. This is culled out from the National Crime Records Bureau. Let me give you an interesting trivia here. By the way, if you look at the government crime records, National Crime Records Bureau is maintained by the Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India, and this particular crime, they bring out with a comprehensive data on the crime data on a yearly basis. And basically, the process involved is that the ministry sends out detailed performance to different states, and the different states collect the data from different police stations across the state, compile it, collate the data, and then that is shared at the central level with the Ministry of Home Affairs, which then compiles after applying the research methods and also verifying details, cross-verifying, and then finally coming out with numbers. Anyhow, let's go to the next slide. So this is two distinction which I have just tried to bring in for your particular purpose. Now, there was one very famous criminologist. We have Edwin Sutherland, and he categorized some of the crimes as white collar crimes. So you must have also heard about this particular crime category. Now, white collar crime is usually associated with people of higher socioeconomic class, whereas in contrast, you find blue collar crime, which is associated with lower social economic class strata people. And the resources are available to white collar workers, who could be placed in high corporate sector, officers who are brokers of a particular kind, investors, or maybe they are earning a lot of money in a scenario that they are able to, hide money or launder money. So, the examples of Nirav Modi, or let's say even Vijay Mallya, you must have heard. So how would you categorize the nature of crime, what they have done? What have they done? Nirav Modi, Vijay Mallya, have you ever heard their names? What have they done? They have done something wrong, right? What crime they have committed? Yes. They have, the basically they are, yes, fraud. Yes, financial frauds they have committed. They have laundered money, money laundering. Yes, they have taken money on loan, left the country. Yes, money laundering. Very good. So they, all of that, whatever they have done is comes under the category of white collar crime. This was defined by the American criminologist Edwin Sutherland way back in the 1930s. Okay, and then he came out with this was actually his PhD thesis. And there was criticism from the big corporates of the America at that point of time. And he had to really cut down on his thesis. This book came out very later in the 1970s, and it was released as White Collar Crime by Sutherland, the uncut version, right? So this was there, just as a trivia I'm sharing. So white collar crime does not directly harm the victim, does not require the criminal to be there at the scene of the crime. Blue collar crime is typically involving physical kind of a crime where, where you are close to the person who is being affected and the person is present at the scene of crime. Grievous hurt, murder are, normally associated with blue collar crime, can be categorized as, but not always, because after all, murder could be committed by anyone. But as a category, this has been developed. Please, let's go to the next slide. Thank you. Origin. Now, as I was just trying to tell you, the origin of white collar crime is by Edwin Sutherland. In 1949, he came up with this monograph, White Collar Crime, where he defined white collar crime as a crime committed by a person of respectability and high social strata in the society in the course of his occupation as one who traditionally wears a suit and white-collared shirt to work. Next slide, please, ma'am. In case anything occurs to your mind, please be, feel free to ask query in the chat box or otherwise. Now, some of the examples of white collar crimes, as one of you, Manat, has already pointed out, fraud. Fraud could include anything. It could be sale of fraudulent goods, false advertising, filing false insurance claims, false billing, bribery. Now, like you bribe people, basically unfair trade practices, bribing people, and bribery that takes place across private sector, public sector. It could be in different scenarios. It could be there, right? And it is punishable only under circumstances when there is sufficient proof, because proof is a very important thing in the justice process. On the basis of some credible proof, only sometimes the law machinery can work, where a case can begin by filing of the charge sheet. Anyhow, that's the procedure part. Now let's go back. Insider trading is also one, by the way, friends. Like, insider trading, like what, anyone who knows about this? Basically, you share some very crucial information for a particular business. You are privy to a particular information while remaining in the business, and you share that maybe with the competitor, and for money or some other kind of advantage. So unfair advantage it can, it can give to certain individuals. So that's insider trading. Anyhow, let's go forward. When an act is considered a crime under Indian law. Now, this is something which, now coming to India and looking at, this is something which I think we have already discussed, and it's just that it's here in the slide form. So mens rea combined with actus reus leads to the commission of crime. Please note, however, one thing. It is not always an action which is punishable, but some certain omissions could also be punishable under the law. Let's move forward. What kind of justice model India follows, friends? India follows the adversarial model of justice delivery. Under this system, the onus of proof is on the state. State is represented by a prosecution team led by public prosecutor in most of the cases. If you look at the sensational cases, most of the sensational cases happening, whether it is Jessica Lal murder case, or where Priyadarshini Mattu case, Sushant Singh Rajput case, or any case, Sanjay Dutt versus CBI, you just talk about it. Look at all the leading cases. Here, the prosecution is under a onus to prove the case beyond reasonable doubt. You see, you cannot send a person to jail under the Indian legal system even if there is an iota of doubt remaining. So the judiciary has to satisfy itself that there is a continuous chain of evidence, unbroken chain of evidence, and that unbroken chain of evidence is proved beyond reasonable doubt. And only then a person can be sent to the jail. Till then, the accused is presumed to be innocent. All right. Anyone who would like to add anything or who would like to ask anything is free to do so. Is it clear? The adversarial model of justice? You understand now? Compared to the adversarial model of justice, we have inquisitorial model justice. And if it's, prevalent in France or in some other continental jurisdictions. Now, friends, let's take certain crime examples. Now, the traditional crime examples, you have theft, dacoity, murder, also categorized as homicide, rape, or, these are the traditional crimes which we find. Now, when we talk about the evolving scenario, friends, when we look at the evolving scenario of the crime, then can you tell me what are the new crimes which we have added? Can you tell me the new crimes which have evolved over the years? Cyber crimes, very good. What else? Cyber crimes, okay, yes. Cyber crime, okay. Anyone else who has any different take or who can give any other new term or something? Narcotics, okay, part of it, okay. Yes, there is synthetic drugs you can talk about, the great drug peddling, trafficking of human beings. There are different kind of offenses which have come up in the recent past with great intensity. So cyber crimes is definitely a new thing, and it encompasses a whole cyber crimes would include a whole lot of crimes. So phishing, not phishing with F, but rather phishing, hacking, virism. There is another crime which has come up. We'll take a look at that. Virism is a new form of crime which has come up. Information Technology Act of 2000. I must mention it. Information Technology Act of 2000 with subsequent amendments. Okay, is to be looked at by you for information purposes, friends. If you are interested, that is the basic act which categorizes a lot of offenses, and also pursuant to the passing of the IT Act in the country, friends, which takes care of the cyber offenses and prescribes punishment. Similarly, in Indian Penal Code also certain changes have been made. Now, do you think stalking is an offense? What's your answer? You understand stalking? The question here. Okay, fine. Thank you. Some of you know the section is also wonderful. You see, stalking is an offense in the physical sense. But what about online stalking? What about online stalking, friends? It is also a crime. Yes, it is also a crime now. Yes, it is. Stalking in all form, it's whether it's online or in physical, is punishable now. There's a particular conduct which has to be seen. If someone is, consistently, trolling you, following you, or, that it can be seen as an instance of stalking. Now, to my second question here, do you think homosexuality is an offense, friends? Do you think it's an offense? Yes, no, both answers you are saying. Which, give me one answer, Sajan. You are saying yes, no, both. You said no. Okay, no, mostly. Yes, it is not an offense. Sometimes people tend to categorize certain orientation of behavior of person as criminal, but that is not the case. We have by the way, let me just tell you, we have recent judgments coming out on this issue, and Supreme Court has in fact tried to convince the government to come out with a panel where they can recommend lot of rights claims have been made, like in civil life, which LGBTQIA plus community may have. You may have come across this particular categorization, LGBTQIA. Do you know about this? Right, so you can refer to these categories. You can read about this later, these categories later. Let's go to next slide, ma'am. New age crimes. Yes, Sajan, thank you. Thank you so much for your answers. Thank you. All of you. Great, great. I'm really glad that most of you could tell me. Anyone else who has still not replied or who wishes, has something in mind or any query or something, any part which is not clear, please go ahead and ask me. New age crimes. In new age crimes, friends, you come across voyeurism, sexual harassment, cyber stalking, cyber crimes takes place, trolling, hacking, perpetrating certain activities. Now, not all categories of crimes is listed in the Indian Penal Code, friends. Okay. There may be some categories of crimes like trolling. You don't find the mention trolling. And trolling happens every day. It is something which is happening. Still, the cyber categorization of certain crimes is evolving. We have not yet reached at a stage where it is completely resolved or finalized. There is no such crime as eve teasing in India, by the way. Media will always be saying eve teasing, eve teasing. There is no mention of eve teasing. What you have is stalking or outraging the modesty of a woman. 1511 you have in the Indian Penal Code, section 511. So you have certain, and then certain other stalking, the new form of offenses, stalking in online mode. Like if someone, for example, captures the image of a woman when she expects that she should be in privacy and, and disseminates the same through virtual mode against the permission, without the permission of that person. Okay. Or even with the permission, which is objectionable for public consumption, he may be taken to task by the law. Let's, ma'am, go to the next slide, ma'am. Now, coming to the justice part, coming to the punishment part, let's understand. We know why do we punish. We have seen the evolving scenario. We have identified some of the, clear-cut crime scenarios, the offenses which have come up. Now, let's look at the philosophy that what is the grading and how the offenses are graded. And this reference I'm bringing to you from a very classic work of Rupert Cross of English sentencing system. Now, you may be wondering why we are referring to this, but please let's remember some of the sentencing principles which are mentioned here have been borrowed, absorbed, and fully implemented by us here in India as well. Now, the grading of the offenses is, by the way, friends, based on the gravity as understood by the legislature. And the gravity of an offense is assessed in terms of, number one, social danger alarm. What do we mean by this social danger alarm? Basically, this implies that socially an alarm is caused. Whenever a brutal rape takes place, like in Hathras it took place, people were out on the streets. When Nirbhaya rape took place, people were out there on the streets. What did they demand? They demanded strict action, quick action, tough laws to take care of the justice aspect. An alarm is caused. Everyone is concerned. Are our people safe? Are our daughters safe? So these kind of questions come up, and legal system has to respond at that point of time to this kind of an alarm. Social disapproval is part and parcel of the whole story. No one would approve of that such a thing. Harm, it brings in harm. Wickedness, there is some wickedness involved in the crime after all, isn't it? Let's go further, man. Now, friends, when we look at the scheme in the Indian framework of the laws, then there is wide discretion. For example, when you start studying criminal law, since I can see that already, I'm really glad and happy to note that you have really taken great interest in the subject. But if you try to explore a little further, and if you try to probe and see, you will notice that there is no guideline here in India, somehow which we are lacking. And there is great wide discretion with the judges. For example, if you read here, the punishment for theft is, which may extend to 3 years, imprisonment or with fine or with both. It may be a case of theft of ₹5 or it may be a case of theft of ₹5 lakh. But what is the most appropriate sentence is a very difficult question to understand guideline. It's another matter that now there are provisions that wherever the theft is, of not of an amount which is, let's say beyond, which is less than 2,000 of rupees. So there it may be compounded. So there is, it may be compounded or settled quickly through a summary procedure. The judges only apply their discretionary powers. But how the judges, discretionary power of the judges have to exercise is a big question. And because of this, sometimes several judgments come out, and it causes a lot of debate and commentary in the social media or in the media, mainstream media also. And then it leads us to pose questions again and again. Friends, please understand one thing. The ultimate object is to achieve a uniformity to a great extent where people are not confused about the law. There is certainty in law, and some acts which are definitely lead to chaos, injustice in society are adequately punished. Let's go ahead, ma'am. Punishment under Indian Penal Code, friends, is provided under in section 53 of the Indian Penal Code. And these are the punishments which are provided. The topmost or the severest form of punishment is death penalty. So we have death penalty awarded for acts of terrorism, where you have heads of state, or, they are assassinated sometimes. So you naturally, other terrorist act, murder of very brutal kind, okay, which is showing depraved humanity. So that's punished with death. However, imposition of death category in India, friends, is in the rarest of the rare category. Let me type this for you. This category is not provided by Indian Penal Code. This is judicially evolved category, and it has its own shortcomings and strengths. So which you can learn later on in another meeting maybe. Imprisonment, which is of two types here. Rigorous imprisonment, which is with hard labor, where a person who is imprisoned in the jail has to do labor. Simple imprisonment, forfeiture of property, and fine. So fine is imposed of multiple times. Previously, there, the fine amount in certain offenses under the Indian Penal Code was very low, even 100 rupees or even less than that. But now all of that has been revised, and now substantial fines can be imposed. In exceptional cases of grave depravity, the fine is imposed, even on the person once he's convicted. And there have been instances in the recent past where the court has passed the stricture that the person will be paying the lot of money in lakhs, and that money has to go to the victim of a particular crime. Normally, this happens in a case where the victim is a woman or a child. Let's go ahead, ma'am. Now, what does the future hold? So now we come almost to the final stages of our session. Wonderful interactive session, friends. I really enjoyed here. Now, what does the future hold here? Admonition. What do we understand by admonition? Anyone can tell me? Admonition, reprimand. Yes, Shagun has responded. Thank you so much. Reprimand. Yes, admonition. We reprimand someone, right? So maybe in future, this may be taken. This kind of punishment could also be taken to a very stronger, concrete level, and we may have this included in the penal code. Community service. You see, sometimes some of the religious institutions, by way of punishment, they ask the people to go for community service. So you'll see people cleaning shoes in gurdwaras or cleaning plates and doing social service as act of, expiation, as to repent what they have done, repent their sin or the crime. So this may also be translated in the public's life also, where person may be asked to do some community service. And this is the future. Apology. Apology will may not be restricted only to school books or to the principal tables or at the university level. It may be given a more concrete shape. Confinement. Some persons may be confined or detained for shorter time periods. Detainment, shorter time periods, confinement. And there is need for uniform guideline for sentencing, friends. So with this, these final suggestions for the alternatives, I conclude from my side. Wonderful session. Great talking to all the people here. Sajan, Shagun, Ishika, Mannat, and others. Wonderful session. Wonderful. Still, you have any query? The floor is open. Himanshi ma'am, in case they have any queries, they can come up with that.
Definitely, sir. And before we move on to the queries, I would like to thank you, sir. Thank you for this insightful presentation that you've given. And I'm so thankful for all the participants as well. They are really, contacting you and writing the answers and having the great interaction with you. So I think it has been a great session, and I would like to thank you for crediting your time, giving us the problems and the solutions as well. So thank you so much, sir.
Thank
So
you so much. Thank you.
and now I'd like to request all the participants, if you have any query, any question, kindly post in Q&A box so that we know any query that you're writing, so that we can have a track on that. Q&A box, kindly post your questions in Q&A box. And sir, okay, so I am stop sharing my screen and we can just look for the questions in Q&A box if you have any.
Himashi, I believe there is some query regarding certificates. I
Yeah,
believe
sir,
you can take that.
Yeah, that I'm not sure. That's why I've written always, like, if I mean, I need to be sure before claim it. So Rishabh, if you'll be getting the certificates, then we will be definitely giving it on your email address. But I'm not sure about this, so I need to be confirmed about this. And
I believe this can be checked from the administrative side, Rishabh. Definitely, Himanshi ma'am will be taking a follow-up on this. And whatever feasibility is there, since I believe your email address is already there in the records, so a follow-up can be given and some update you will definitely receive.
definitely. And like what your email IDs are already with us, and since you've registered here, right? So any query, anything that you have,
Anything else apart from regarding the content, anything which comes to your mind still? Do you like I hope you like the kind of queries which we are trying to address here, the themes. I could see that throughout the session, right? So will you go home today now and try to read more about some aspects of criminal law?
Rishabh says the webinar was very informative and we have responses coming in. Yes, okay, yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. Wonderful.
Oh,
What
so
about Lambroso? Yes, you need to, yeah, yes, definitely, Sajan. You can just, I had referred Lambroso as a, I'm not included in the slides, but I've suggested it to you. You can go to the Google, you can type, rather I would suggest you go to Encyclopedia Britannica. And my suggestion to you to this generation is this, that please don't go for substandard references or substandard, knowledge resources. Please go for standard resources. And I would really request you to consult Encyclopedia Britannica. You will find that Lambroso is someone who was, who gave the crime theory based on physical features of a person, right? He defined criminal in a particular way. If you have further queries, you can post that, and I'm sure Himanshi ma'am can send just a mail to me or anything. I'll be happy to even respond afterwards. No issues.
definitely. And for that, sir, I have just given a link in the chat box to everyone. You just click on that and you'll be, coming in contact with our counselors, and hence then you can share your queries and we will be forwarding.
We can take it further. No issues.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Thank you, Anjali. Thank you. I'm really happy you liked it. I'm glad, Anjali.
Okay. So I think we are okay. We are done, right? We do not have any other queries, sir. I will be just taking next 2 minutes to show them about the site as well, as in how they can take admission.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Okay, just in a minute. Okay, first I will be giving a brief insight. This is our webinar page that I've also shared the link of. So you can just check all the webinars that are lined up. You can register, and about the certificates, I will be definitely asking and then giving a reward back to you. Now I will be giving a brief about the site, that is lpu.in, our site where you can take admission. So you already know that Sunil sir has given this wonderful session about law, right? All the problems that we've had, right? So these are the experts from which you can learn while coming to the university. So how you can take admission is, I'm going to tell you in next 1 minute. So basically you need to go to the admissions, and there are whole segregated programs there. And I'm assuming that you must be after 12, or I mean, it depends on you, wherever you go and whichever course you select, right? But I'm assuming that you are a student who has done your 12th grade now, and you can just write in if you have any other grade that you've passed. Okay, let's go with the 12th now. So here, I'm just clicking on this regular program. And once I click on the regular programs, there are disciplines that will be visible. You can see all the disciplines that you name any of the discipline and we have it. Engineering, agriculture, science, fashion, history, films and TV production, library science, fine arts, performing arts, and law, because we were talking a lot about law. So once we click on the law, we have the programs that are under that discipline. You can just check what all programs that we have under any discipline. And once you click on the program, all the details of the program will be given. So I will be just briefing you basically this program details that is highlighted. This gives you your eligibility criteria, whether you're eligible for a particular course or not. And these are the options. Now, once I move to the highlight option, this gives all the highlights that has happened in the university in context of the law. So basically what all researches, patents, workshops, achievement that students have achieved right here, and the rankings that are there of the university, in regards with the law is already given there. Now, this is something very interesting to note, students, is we have curriculum that is already pre-made for you. It's like basically we give you a curriculum beforehand. Even if you take part in the university, you know what you will be taught, what all topics you will be learning, and that would help you, I think, to make a disciplined decision whether you want to come and whether you want to go with the particular course or not. Now is the fee structure. So once you click on the fee, you will be knowing the fees, and with the fees we have different scholarships as well. So just check off the scholarships, and you can get multiple scholarships. And how, like, these are the 3 slabs, category 1, 2 and 3 of the scholarship. We have other scholarships as well. You simply click on the scholarships, and we have CLAT undergraduate scholarships, another financial aid, and special scholarships as well. So now is simple. I will be just giving you about important dates. That is the last date is 10th June is last date of admission. I would urge you to kindly apply for the course and the test. So how you can apply, simply just click on this apply now option, and there are many requirements. And from there you can just simply fill in your details, and hence apply for the course. Now after you submit, you will be given your dashboard, and then you can apply for the course or the test. Now, one thing, if there's any query, I have already given you the link in the chat box, but if you have any query, you simply go to the site and just schedule a call, either WhatsApp us. It is very feasible for the students, right? You can just WhatsApp us with your queries, then we will be reverting back with that. Okay, and you can have also live video counseling session. Now, last but not the least are the numbers that I will be giving you. These are the numbers. You can directly call on them, and hence get in contact with our counselors, and we will be resolving the queries. So I hope that I've given you a little idea of as to how you can take part in the course and what. Okay, just a moment. Total fee without scholarship of 5 years. Okay, Rishabh, for this, I will be just showing you the screen again. So once you go to the fee, right, and there it is, the fee that is 1,20,000 per semester, that is without scholarship. But our students do get a lot of scholarship, and this is not the usual fee that I'm just saying. But I think now the query is clear. What is your fee without scholarship, right? Okay, with this, I think I have given you a brief idea as to how you can just go to the site, explore it, and if you want to take part, then take part in the test or the course that you would want to take in. Now, I would request, okay, I think there are no questions now. Now, sir, I would be asking your permission to wrap this webinar up. Can I? Okay, so, sir, you're not audible, sir, you're on mute.
Yes, okay. Am I audible now?
Yeah,
fine. Yes, please, Himanshi ma'am. I think we are at the end of a wonderful session, and I'm sure Rishabh also has his answer. So that brings us to the end of a wonderful interactive session, friends. I enjoyed interacting with all of you, and thanks to a wonderful host, ma'am, here, who led us through all the slides and also shared very important information at the end of the session. Have a great evening ahead. And in future, you have any queries, please feel free to get back to us. We'll be more than happy to share our feedback and responses.
Shagun also says thank you, and it's privilege hearing you, sir. And same,
Pleasure is mine, sir. Shagun, thank you.
and I would like to thank all the participants, of course, for coming in here. All the questions, all the answers, all the interaction that you've had is really, really appreciated. So with this, I shall take the leave now. Ruchi also says thanks, sir. Okay. And now, until next webinar, stay safe and stay healthy, and meet you soon in the next webinar. Kindly explore the page, and this video will also be uploaded on YouTube in case you missed any of this part of the session. You can directly watch on the YouTube as well. So with this, thank you so much for joining in. Meet you soon in the next webinar.